I think if you take care of your clients, they take care of you. Not all dealers, lead with that. Usually it's more about a transaction and more about the money. But I truly feel like if you focus on the client service aspect to it and respect and building relationships, I mean, honestly, that's how I got to where I am today, to be able to have my own business.
All right, well, then moving down the size, talk to me about this Graal dial.
Okay,
watch.
so this, I have a really great relationship with a pretty well-known watch dealer, Mike Nouveau. He has great taste, and he's also very influential, but I've known him for a few years now, and throughout those years, he comes to me with watches that he knows are my vibe. He knows me very, very well and tempts me all the time. So he had gotten this watch in a lot of other ladies' pieces, and we also partner on a lot of deals, so sometimes there will be ladies' watches that he thinks that I can help sell. But he knew that I was looking for a coral dial for a very, very long time. And I mean, the coral dial itself, it's flawless, it's a beautiful shade, but also what really drew me is this extremely rare bracelet. It's a braided mesh yellow gold vintage Rolex bracelet that, I mean, show me another one. So cool, so interesting, and the combination of the two, funky as hell. Like, so fun. And I've always been a fan of stone dials, and actually when I was living in Hong Kong, there was another one of these on just a normal, I think probably a presidential bracelet, on carousel. And I remember, I think it was around 8,000 US dollars. And so this was maybe 2020, 2021. And it was just one of the ones that got away. It was something that I didn't really trust the seller. It was carousel. I wasn't comfortable with it. But had I bought that back then, I mean, I paid a lot more for this one. So it's one of those that I look back at, I was like, I should have just pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, especially on carousel, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Because you just don't know.
Yeah, but I have to say, I actually bought one of my favorite watches off carousel.
Which one?
It was the MBNF over Nitro.
The one that I saw last year. Yeah, that one has stuck. That's actually stayed with me. I remember that watch so vividly. Yeah. The first time I saw it, because it's so unique. Yeah. So I mean, it has the DNA of both, but I was just like, what is, from afar, I was like, what is that? Yeah.
So sometimes you gotta take that leap of faith. But
yeah, that was great. Yeah. And I think you had it at a good price too.
Yes. That's why I can't sell it. If I sell it, I can't afford to buy it back. So,
right. Yeah.
So
when I'm helping clients curate their collection, it's not often, but sometimes people come with 30 or 40 pieces that they've acquired and amassed over 10, 15, 20 years. And they come to me and they're like, what should I sell? And there's so many, you can't just answer that and be like, okay, these are the ones I like, so you should sell the other ones. These are the ones that can move. So, right, exactly. But a big factor of that is it replaceable? Just like you said, if you sold it for any reason and you missed it, to get it back, it's possible, but it would be at an expense.
Yes.
So I try to lead my clients to think about things that way, like, are you gonna miss this watch? Yeah. And what is the replacement value?
Yeah. And have you had any watches that have left your hands and you felt like, I regret letting that go?
I don't sell my own watches that much unless it doesn't speak to me. So sometimes there's a watch in my mind, like the classic collection. I really, really wanted a 1016 Explorer. And while I was living here, I actually found a birth watch. Beautiful, perfect, unpolished, amazing example. And I had it for about a week. And I wasn't excited to put it on my wrist. I was proud of it. I was like, I'm excited that I was hunting for this and I found it. I liked the satisfaction of that. but I wasn't excited to wear it.
Right.
So at that point, I know I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
And someone, while I was working, I was wearing it and someone offered
Right.
to buy it. And because I didn't think twice about it, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna miss it.
Right, yeah. So I think that's a prime example of when the hunt is much more fun than actually the getting it.
But that's why I'm a dealer.
Yes, the hunt.
I get to hunt all the time.
Yes, you get high off the hunt.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, well, let's keep moving on. So we move into the really quirky,
smaller
watches. Maybe let's talk about the one on your wrist first.
Yeah, so the one that I have on my wrist, it's a Cartier from the 1940s. Mm-hmm. From my understanding, it's pretty rare. I've only seen a few go up for auction in the past. It's called a coulissant. Coulissant. Which means sliding. Okay. In Cartier, in French. And so it's a concealed dial. You pull it up like this. Yeah. And there's also a nickname, people call it the baguette.
The baguette?
Yes. Oh. Which I can kind of see the baguette. It's kind of more of like a croissant.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about to say.
But I guess because it's long. But yeah, so what's cool about it also, I like the funkiness of it. It's a watch, but you don't initially think of it as a watch. It looks more like jewelry. It's kind of a little shock factor. But I think concealed dials could be an emerging trend. Right. You asked me that a little bit earlier, like where do I see people kind of finding, hidden gems that aren't yet, at hype level. Mm-hmm. I think there's so many cool vintage pieces that have concealed dials that, there's a market for that for sure. But this one has a JLC movement, it's a duo plan, and is kind of a nice segue to go into this one, which is also JLC. And this one, I had a bit of a buyer's remorse, regret situation. I bought it at auction, which I should never, ever bid at auction. I am highly competitive, and it wasn't even that I wanted it so much for what I wanted to win. Right. And my initial, I was thinking, someone else is willing to pay this. So if I pay the next bid increment, I'm not overpaying that much. There's still a bidder at that level. Yeah. But then when I won, I was like, wait, that person didn't want to pay that. So now I did overpay. It's a whole psychological thing. Also as a dealer, I do have a mentality that I want to buy something at under market value.
The best price possible.
The best price possible. Yes. But in the end, it's a really, really special piece. This is from the 1950s. It's a citrine stone overlaying a JLC movement. And I mean, how cool is that?
That's crazy. And so if you ever needed to service this, you would have to take it from the back?
Yeah, what's really cool about it, I bid on it at auction in Geneva. It was a Geneva Sotheby's sale with the Heist Out guys. Mm-hmm. So it was a really, really cool auction, and I wanted to support them too. They had really cool pieces, so I was happy with that too. But the following day after I won it, I was actually visiting the JLC factory. Mm-hmm. So I was able to get in touch with one of the historians for JLC and showed him the picture of it, and then he arranged on the tour for me to see all of these other, I think there was maybe 4 or 5 other JLC ring watches that were from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and it was so cool to see that. And now in my mind, that's what's next.
Now you have to collect the set of rings like Thanos, and then you're gonna wear them on all fingers.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and also I would say a big thing that drew me to that is that it was my ring size. I just felt like it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
Right. So now looking at your collection, how do you think about how you curate your collection moving forward? Is it a theme that you want to adhere to? How do you structure that?
So I don't curate my collection. I'm the worst. I would hate working with myself as a watch dealer who likes to work with collectors on their journey and curate a collection. I so admire when someone has a theme or at least a vision for their collection. For me, I think because I'm constantly, I know I just said that I was gonna hunt more ring watches, that is a thing, But usually I don't know what the next watch I'm gonna buy is, because it usually comes my way and then I'm like, that's it, I need that watch, but I'm not looking for it.
Right.
So to curate a collection, I think as a very general sense, I want unique, interesting pieces. I'm not gonna buy something that is replaceable or that a million other people have on their wrist. I want things that I find funky, interesting, there's a unique characteristic to it, and it's special. It has to be special.
Right, it has to be special. So,
it has to be special.
So, I mean, obviously you had so many watches pass through your hands. Do you ever get watch fatigue? Do you ever lose interest, in watches? How do you keep
Massively.
yourself?
Yeah, I think it also is affected by the watches that I'm selling at that time. If I have 10 people asking for the same watch, immediately I'm sick of that watch. It could be the coolest watch in the world, but it's just, I get really excited when I get to sell something I've never sold before.
Yeah.
So I think that I definitely get watch fatigue. There's no solution to it until there's a new trend, I guess, and I get to have more interesting things in my hands.
Right. Maybe moving forward, like, obviously, what are your aspirations with Grail Watch? And I've always actually wanted to ask you this because, like, obviously you've created this successful community of a lot of collectors, and sometimes I thought that's actually kind of a little bit goes against what a dealer normally wants. Normally a dealer wants to keep their clients and their friends separate, but you've created a community, and then you even have a marketplace where people can like sell watches. That like what kind of made you think about this, and what brought you to do this?
I think I put myself into, and this is not smart. This is not the smart way to go about my business, but I do think about it as if I wasn't a dealer. What would I want? What would be helpful? To have this community where I can have easy access to dealers, to other collectors, to inventory that I wouldn't otherwise have access to, and for the group chat where you can buy and sell. I just wanted a place that was easy and just like not complicated. So again, business-wise, not great, but I do try to put my heart first, and I feel like it's something that collectors could use and could appreciate. So, yeah.
I mean, I think that definitely resonates with us. I think in life there's two types of people. There's like givers and takers, and what you just mentioned is very much on the giving side. Just don't think so much on what you can take. Think about what you can give to the community, and everything will just come afterwards. Okay, so maybe lastly, I'm gonna ask you. So, like, what are the future goals and objectives for Grail Watch, and maybe is there something that you haven't achieved yet that you want to achieve?
So right now it's a one-woman show. I do everything. I would love for at some point to have people on my team that basically have the same way of dealing, which is, I would say like a personalized service and the collector comes first mentality, where I think if you take care of your clients, they take care of you. Not all dealers, lead with that. Usually it's more about a transaction and more about the money, but I truly feel like if you focus on the client service aspect to it and respect and building relationships, I mean, honestly, that's how I got to where I am today, to be able to have my own business. I started as an intern and an administrative assistant for an auction house, and through my connections and the relationships that I felt were really important, I was able to make something of that. So I kind of hope to find other people that can join the team, and I would be a very laissez-faire boss, to be honest. I would just let them. To answer your question, I would love to be able to expand my business and be more relaxed and have more flexibility, which I have so much right now, to be honest. But I think it's work smarter, not harder mentality. I want to do less work, but I still want to make money. So I think hiring people with like-minded dealing business ethics, I guess.
Okay, well, if you're looking for a job and you think you could help Zoe, hit her up on Watch Girl Off Duty.
Yeah.